SpaceX's Starship Mars rocket's initial orbital launch has been delayed by at least a month. SpaceX plans to launch that historic test mission when the FAA completes an environmental evaluation of Starbase, the South Texas facility where the company develops, tests, and launches its Starship vehicles. Here's what we've gathered so far. So, what exactly happened? The review was intended to be completed by December 31st. The FAA, however, pushed back the expected completion date to February 28th, just days before the cutoff date, claiming the need to engage with other agencies and examine the multitude of public comments received in connection to the draft review, which was presented in September. On February 14th, the agency stated that the final report would be postponed once more, this time until March 28th, to allow for additional feedback assessment and interagency collaboration. Elon Musk, SpaceX's creator and CEO, is unlikely to be surprised by the time frame shift. Musk, for example, claimed during a live webcast Starship update that the business had gotten a rough estimate that FAA approval could arrive in March. If that happens, don't anticipate Starship making its maiden orbital attempt for a long time. Of course, permission isn't the only possibility. For the activities at Starbase, the FAA may consider an assessment that considers the impact on the environment with a more time-consuming analysis. The FAA is determining whether the intended build-out in Texas will have a significant environmental impact on the area, such as an adjacent wildlife reserve, and will need to conduct a much more thorough investigation before expanding operations at SpaceX's rocket manufacturing facility and spaceport in Boca Chica. If this is the case, the first Starship orbital test flight would probably launch from NASA's Kennedy Space Center and Florida's Cape Canaveral. Musk already had a backup plan in place. Even in the worst-case scenario, Musk said SpaceX has a backup plan in case a thorough environmental impact study is necessary or legal fighting over the matter drags on. According to Musk, SpaceX has been given permission to launch from 39A based on environmental grounds. So, in the worst-case circumstances, they would have to wait 6 to 8 months to complete the Cape launch tower and deploy from there. From Pad 39A, SpaceX has already completed a number of deployments, including cargo and crew Dragon capsule trips to the International Space Station. However, Starship necessitates a larger launch tower. Musk stated that the company will relocate its whole Starship initiative to the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, since it already has the necessary environmental clearances. SpaceX hopes to launch Starship from numerous sites in the future. During the Starship presentation, Musk mentioned that the company is altering 2 deep-sea oil rigs to act as launch towers for the Mammoth vehicle. How big is the Starship? Starship's made up of 2 parts: Super Heavy, a massive first-stage rocket, and Starship, a 165-foot-tall spaceship. Both are built to be purely and instantly reusable, which Musk and SpaceX hope will make Mars colonization and other major exploration efforts affordable. To date, Starship prototypes have made a number of test flights from Starbase, although they've all been short flights with a maximum height of roughly 6.2 miles. Obviously, the forthcoming orbital mission will travel higher and farther, and it will be the first time Super Heavy is used. The FAA statement came on the same day as other important SpaceX and Starship news, such as billionaire Jared Isaacman's announcement that he has scheduled 3 space flights with the corporation, one of which will be the first ever crewed Starship voyage. Inspiration 4, the first private ship to Earth orbit, was launched and managed by Isaacman using a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft. In September, Inspiration 4 launched, taking Isaacman and 3 other passengers on a 3-day orbital journey. In any event, SpaceX is still planning to undertake the world's first private moon trip in 2023, using a Starship to orbit around the moon and fall back to Earth. Nobody claimed there wouldn't be any bumps on the road, so it's safe to say that the FAA isn't the only setback SpaceX has had recently. Next, the Starship engine crisis poses a risk of bankruptcy. Elon Musk believes that SpaceX must quickly speed up manufacturing of its next-generation Raptor engine or risk serious repercussions. Starship, SpaceX's gigantic, totally reusable spacecraft that will transport people and goods to the moon, Mars, and other far-flung destinations, will be powered by the Raptor engines. Each Starship will require 33 Raptor engines for the Mammoth first-stage rocket known as Super Heavy, and 6 for the upper-stage spaceship known as Starship. How many ships will it take for colonization? In the future, SpaceX plans to operate a huge fleet of Starships. According to Musk, at the joint fall meeting of the Space Studies Board and the Board on Physics and Astronomy, 1,000 of the vehicles will be required to colonize Mars, which is one of Musk's ultimate dreams. As a result, SpaceX intends to produce a large number of Raptors in the near future. According to an email Musk addressed to SpaceX staff over the Thanksgiving holiday, the business is currently not on schedule to achieve that objective. Starship is expected to launch an updated version of SpaceX's Starlink internet satellites, according to Musk. With its Falcon 9 rocket, SpaceX has now lifted over 1,600 V-1 Starlink ships ships and about 100 of the more sophisticated V-1.5 series. However, the Merlin-powered workhorse rocket cannot hold the larger V-2 satellites, which Musk envisions as critical revenue generators for the firm. Now, in other related SpaceX news, SpaceX brings business to Brownsville, Texas. In Brownsville, Texas, city officials predicted double-digit drops in sales and property tax receipts at the start of the coronavirus outbreak. To their surprise, residential property rates, sales tax collections, and hotel tax revenues have all continued to rise. SpaceX deserves a lot of the credit. The adjacent Boca Chica launch site for the Starship spacecraft and Super Heavy booster has been progressively expanding the staff of the Hawthorne, California-based rocket maker. In 2016, SpaceX began expanding its operations in Boca Chica Beach. Since then, Brownsville has drawn the attention of a variety of industries and sectors that locals had previously dismissed as apathetic in the city. New space technologies, aerospace, and technology companies are just some of the examples. SpaceX motivated lots of industries to relocate their operations. These businesses all want to be near the big fish in the pond. Furthermore, people are flocking to Brownsville from California and other parts of Texas to initiate operations. Brownsville residents have observed an exponential spike in entrepreneurial activity as a result of SpaceX's rising presence. We are talking about effects and benefits that they won't notice for another 10 to 15 years. Brownsville is attracting new firms by expanding its network infrastructure and collaborating with the state to train people to suit their needs. The Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation is also in touch with venture capital firms about establishing startup accelerator initiatives and promoting the formation of overvalued complexes that could accommodate manufacturing or assembly plants. Even still, Brownsville has hurdles in managing all of these changes in such a short period of time. There will always be some negativity associated with any great thing, just as there will always be some negativity involved with any wonderful thing. So many things are changing at such a rapid pace. Based on how rapidly you can pivot to suit the needs of the local economy, they might have a beneficial or bad impact on the community. SpaceX is planning to launch a new Starlink fleet. On February 21st, SpaceX will launch over 400 satellites and touch down the returning rocket, and you can watch the action live. At 9:44 a.m. on Sunday, a two-stage Falcon 9 rocket topped with 49 SpaceX Starlink broadband spacecraft will launch from Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The webcast for SpaceX will start roughly 15 minutes before launch. The Falcon 9's first stage will come back down to Earth around 9 minutes after liftoff for a vertical touchdown on SpaceX's drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas, which will be situated in the Atlantic Ocean a few hundred miles off the Florida coast. The mission was originally scheduled to launch on Sunday, but was postponed a day owing to adverse weather conditions for the rocket recovery. According to EverydayAstronaut.com, Monday will be the 11th launch and return of this particular Falcon 9 first stage. The most recent mission was a catastrophic failure. This will rival SpaceX's record for reuse, which was established in December by a different Falcon 9 component during a Starlink flight. This year, SpaceX has launched 3 large Starlink batches, 2 in January and 1 on February 3rd. The most recent trip, however, ran into major problems due to a solar outburst that caused a geomagnetic storm on Earth. As a result of this storm, atmospheric density rose, increasing the drag on the recently deployed Starlink satellites. As a result, up to 40 of the 49 spacecraft were destroyed and crashed back to Earth. SpaceX has already launched over 2,100 Starlink satellites into orbit, but it is far from finished. SpaceX has received clearance to launch 12,000 Starlink vehicles and has sought authority to launch up to 30,000 more from an international regulator. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. If you enjoyed our content, please smash the like button, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this.